Ho, ho, ho! That time of year. Happy Hanukkah to my brother Will Johnson. And happy Hanukkah and other stuff. Christmas, Hanukkah. Does anybody ever say Kwanzaa anymore? Or is that like out of here?
Who?
I, that was really big like 5 years ago, and everyone said, that's it. I'm not saying that anymore. Somebody made that up.
Yeah, probably so.
Not based on any religion I've ever heard of, just pointing that out. Um, I before we get into the news, I was very sad to see that Bethlehem, and I can say I've been there a couple of times. I was originally there about 30 years ago when it was almost entirely Christian. And the people that were there, plus the pilgrims that came, it was a very emotional thing. When you go into the Church of the Nativity, and nobody's 100% sure, by the way, that's where Jesus was born, but they think it could have been the place. You've got people crawling on their hands and knees, and nuns that have come from like Argentina and Serbia and Canada, and they're praying and they're blessing each other. And it's literally an emotional, visceral event. I mean, this is where the guy was born that changed the world, right?
Hmm.
Now, I saw a video from Bethlehem yesterday. Almost all the Christians have been chased out. And the Muslims there burned a Christmas tree that the Christians put up in honor of the birth of Jesus. I mean, it's despicable, the lack of respect for that site. And if it wasn't for the Church of the Nativity, no one would care about Bethlehem if it wasn't in the Bible. It's just a little tiny village, right? Run by a Palestinian mayor who says Jesus was Palestinian. Dummy. I'm just I'm just pointing that out. It's that time of the season. We should all revere the things that are important to us from a religious point of view. And I'm saddened that the world has let them get away with this crap, because that's what it is. It's crap. If Christians went in to Mecca and Medina and destroyed the historical references to Muhammad, the world would blow up, wouldn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
It'd be in flames.
They would say that this is they would probably call it genocide. They'll probably call it, everything else they can think of. But most definitely they will say that, see, this just proves that Christianity is hateful. And, because we already know that they merge without us even doing it. They merge Christianity and living, a Jewish lifestyle together. They merge it together, which in actuality it is together. They're just different terms, right? If you look at it, if you believe in the word, if you believe in God's Bible, they are together. And the very fact that they're burning down this Christmas tree, they're not burning down the Christmas tree because it represents, the birth of Christ, because it actually doesn't. They're burning it down because it's associated. That's it. If it wasn't a tree, it'd have been something else.
And
Just
and and,
because
and
it's
I might
associated.
add, and it might bring Christian pilgrims there to honor the site, and 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 they don't want that. They want to rewrite history.
Yeah, yeah. And then, as you mentioned, they have this movement now trying to say that Jesus was Palestinian, and after all of these years, now all of a sudden they're saying that, is this the first? Because this is the first time I've ever heard of that. Now, I'm not saying that they didn't do this in the past, but this is the first time that I've ever heard that they're trying to associate Jesus with being Palestinian. And if that's the case, and if they did it before, why did they have such a huge problem with Jesus if he was Palestinian? That's another thing that
Yeah,
becomes a problem.
The problem you've got is you're using your brain, and you're being logical. And I'm sorry to have to correct you, but intelligence has no place in this discussion. It really doesn't, right? I mean, the fact of the matter is, Judea was Jewish. Jews were named after where they came from, which was
Mhm.
Judea.
Yes.
Jesus was born to a Jewish mother and father in a
Yes.
Jewish village, was raised a Jew, educated a Jew, became a rabbi, which is a Jewish teacher, died a Jew. Hell with it. Let's rewrite all of it. Let's
I was going
make
to ask
him
you.
a Palestinian from
So I was going to,
Palestine.
yeah. So I was going to ask you. So do the in the Quran, do they not go by rabbis in the Quran?
I don't think so. I don't think so. So, the thing that's so weird for me, and maybe you can explain this, then we'll go on to the other points. Why is it that Bible believing Christians like you are not pissed off that these goofballs are rewriting history? When I was there, just to give you an idea, the area in front of the Church of the Nativity is called Manger Square, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And there were buses coming from Israel. And I mean, there was probably 75 tour buses as far as the eye could see. We took a bus, and you walk a mile from the parking lots. This was 30 years ago. There's so many pilgrims coming to see the spot.
Mm-hmm.
Those parking lots are closed now. Nobody's coming because people don't want to be abused and spit at and screamed at and told that their God has been rewritten. They have driven the Christians out. There used to be a Christian mayor, not anymore. There used to be a Christian city council, not anymore. There used to be Christian management of all the sites there, not anymore. They are de-Christifying, literally, the birth of your religion,
Yeah. Well,
of
I
which there
think,
are billions of followers.
yeah, I think what it comes down to, people that believe the Bible as I do, I believe that. Now, I think I mentioned this to you before. I truly believe that we are in what they call the last days. Now, I'm not talking about an hour or a minute. I'm not okay. December 31st, 2024, it's all gonna be over with. I'm not saying that. I'm talking about the fig tree. We see the signs on the fig tree. It's just like seeing the signs on the fig tree when you can tell the seasons of the year that's coming. We see those signs right now. And what the Bible tells us is that in the last days that many will be deceived. Many will end up turning away from the true living God, and the true living God is the God of Israel. I mean, so it comes down to that. And we're seeing that happen today more than any other time. Barry, think about it like this. Even if, because we have a society where they tried to exclude God out of everything. And when you look at it, they exclude God out of politics, which I think we should include God. And they exclude God out of schools, God out of everything, the courthouse, everything. To the point to now where reality is whatever you feel it to be, whatever you make it to be. And I believe that is part of what we're seeing. Now that they've removed all the Christians from that location, I think God will handle it. I know that God is real. I don't, so put it like this, and not to be mean or sound, any kind of way, but I truly believe that when you see a lot of Muslim community, they believe that they have to go out and they have to do the actions themselves, where they put little devices, can I say it like this, friendly devices on children, because they believe they have to do it themselves. I believe the God, the creator of all things, he is the one that will gain vengeance. He would be vengeful. We don't have to be. We just need to do our part and endure. I know it sounds kind of weak, but it's not. It's actually stronger not to smash somebody in the face. I mean, it takes a lot of strength. Think about it. When someone does, if someone come and they do you wrong, and you're right there, someone harms you, your family, whatever. It takes a lot of strength for you to restrain yourself. It really does, because it's easy to try to smash somebody. It's easy to try to harm somebody. It's easy to just give in to your anger. It's really easy, but it's a lot different restraining yourself. That's takes a lot of strength, I think more than we really recognize, and that's where I come from.
That's really an interesting way to look at it. I will tell you that it's hard to be patient when
Yep.
you see this abuse of
Yep.
of billions of people who believe. Do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, no,
Um,
I'm not saying it's easy. It takes a lot of strength, and on top of that, I believe it takes a lot of faith. Do I
well, let me
truly
let me
believe,
show
or
you.
do I not?
This is the Church of the Nativity, and it's really, really, really old. I mean, when I was there, this entire square out front, you see, there's just a couple people in the lower right-hand corner there, Will. There
Oh
were
yeah, the
tens
sitting
of,
down. Yeah.
yeah, there were thousands of people lined up when I was there. Thousands of people. This is an important place in the world. Maybe one of the top 5 most important places in the world that has been so desecrated that people aren't coming there for fear for their safety and their belief system. Someday, Will Johnson, I know you've mentioned it many times, you have got to go. You've got to go there, take the pictures, do the prayers, meet the other believers from around the world. It's something that you want to experience. You really do.
Oh,
And
oh.
and and I'm very curious how you're going to act when some Arab goofball comes up to you and goes, Jesus, Palestinian, you Palestinian, me Palestinian, and they raise the flag and they give the salute and the whole 9 yards. I I I dare you to keep your temper in check when that happens because it's going to be tough. Just saying.
Well, you know what? I'm willing to find out. I would love to go. And but you know me, when people disagree with me, I really want to have a conversation with them.
I get it. I totally get it.
Now, what now would they be able to, restrain themselves? Probably not, you know. I look, let me be clear. I would defend myself, but at the same time, I don't think that I would be the aggressor. And let me be clear about something too. Part of the reason why I think our world is in the position that it's in right now, because we didn't have enough people stand up and say anything. Now, there's one thing of standing up and saying something versus being, aggressive and being violent. We should say something. And that's exactly what we're doing here. I'm not saying what they're doing is right. It is completely wrong. You should have the freedom to go to that location and to say your prayers without anyone harassing you. They have every right to say their prayers. Why would you take it away from anybody else? And I think the reason why they want to take away our prayers is because they know that we pray to the actual true living God, the God of Israel.
You mean the one that doesn't want to slaughter everybody? That God?
See, now you're saying
Speaking,
common sense stuff. Now you have to calm
yeah,
down with that.
exactly. Speaking of a lack of common sense, this story is just startling. Joe Biden has been on a pardoning, I don't know what you call it, rampage the last week or two, starting with his son, then all the murderers, people that are committed just hellacious crimes. Here's the
ID
latest one.
spies.
Yeah, this just happened. Check this out. The brother of Hamas leader Khaled Mashal was just released from prison. His name is Abdul Kader Mashal. He was the brother of the former Hamas political wing, and he was just released a couple of days ago. Here's his picture. He's been in U.S. prison, and the rumor is that Biden wants to make nice with the terrorists before he leaves office. So this guy was in jail for 16 years. He was supposed to stay in jail, and dozens of those guys are now being released. No reason given. Convicted terrorist. No reason given. Why in the world would you guess? Because there was no explanation, so nobody knows. Why are they releasing these guys right before Biden runs out the door? Why? These are terrorists. These people kill people.
I think they need them for the up and coming liberal apocalypse. I mean, I truly believe that. Now, I hope that I'm wrong. And I make it clear that I hope that I'm wrong in some of the stuff that I say, but I believe that they're wanting these people to be out, to be free, so they can wreak havoc, so they can bring destruction, so they can bring fear, so they can bring chaos. And then they're going to turn around and say, oh, see, this was Trump's fault. It's all of his fault. He's the one that's incited all of this violence, not the Democrats. Everything is a game of play for them.
But Will, it's very simple to say, but Biden let him out of prison.
Okay, we're talking about, do you think the government state media will even acknowledge it at that point? They're not going to care.
It was not, be honest with you, it was not even widely reported this guy got out.
That's what I'm saying.
I picked it up in one of my obscure Middle Eastern, I think it was Jerusalem Post that picked it up. That was not announced. They didn't do a press release.
Yeah, and again, I think the reason being is because they want the chaos. Let no crisis go to waste. And if you don't have a crisis, go ahead and create one. And I think that's what they're attempting to do, to create a crisis. Now, I'm not saying this because we're like fear mongering or anything, but have you ever known for the left, the Democrats, not to do anything extremely dramatic? Like you just mentioned, the fact that we're even having this conversation, they know this guy is a terrorist and they let him out. They knew terrorists were coming across the southern border and they let him into the country. They're setting us up. The reason why I believe they're doing this, they're setting it up. It's not because Joe Biden has a deep love and heart of compassion for these terrorists. Well, maybe he does, but he has a deeper hatred for this country. And be honest with you, I don't even think it's Joe Biden doing it. I think
he signed it. Somebody put it in front of him and said, "Sign this," and he goes, "Oh, okay."
I'm gonna say, do you think he knows what he's signing? These are your exiting papers. You need to sign this one. You're gonna have a whole bunch of them before January 20th. Just get used to it.
Yeah, this you can, if you sign this, you can have pudding with lunch.
Exactly. Exactly.
The kind you like. The good pudding.
We maybe let you have a slice of pizza.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's getting worse. The White House is now saying on official statements that the real victims of October 7th, since October 7th, have been Muslims who have been discriminated against. Don't give me that look. I'm going to explain. I know this. I know where this makes no sense. It's going to get worse. Just hold on. Muslims have been subject to Islamophobia because of October 7th, and they are the real victims. So out of this building that used to be the place where the smartest international political leadership came from is now a cesspool of idiots, at least for 25 more days.
You're being nice.
The White House is now saying that the Jewish female that was kicked in the head last week for protesting the lack of release of the Jewish hostages that are still being held over 400 days as a result of the Islamic terrorists who invaded Israel, murdered over 1,000 people, raped, looted, burned families alive in their home, took hostages, including many Americans, dragged them into tunnels underneath Gaza. That what really has to happen is the U.S. national strategy to counter Islamophobia and anti-Arab hate has to be made a priority. And this is what the White House said. This is a quote. Since October 7th, 2023, that's the day of the massacre, Muslim and Arab students, faculty, and staff, this is on the university campuses, have been subject to violence, discrimination, hate, harassment, bullying, and online targeting.
Oh my goodness.
Islamophobia strategy provides no citations for its claim of nationwide harassment of Muslims on college campuses. Under its direction, the Department of Education Office of Civil Rights section, its few named incidents included University of Michigan student who claimed someone yelled at her, and a CUNY law school that had an event canceled because no reason given. So those are the examples of Islamophobia that the White House has given. Meanwhile, we see terrorists burning down buildings, attacking Jewish students, burning the American flag, burning the Israeli flag, yet chanting death to America. That is what's really happening since October 7th. But the White House named 2 instances that were kind of bad if they could have been proven. They were allegations, right? And this is while Jews are being beaten with baseball bats and they're chanting, "Kill the Jews, death to Israel, death to America." I can't wait for January 20th. Could we just hold our breath and then we stop holding our breath and it's January 20th? Is that a thing?
You know, January 20th, we get our country back. January 20th, insane comes back, right? Insanity, not insanity, right?
Sanity comes back.
Yes, sanity come back. We actually have sane people in a government. January 20th means that what was right now becomes right again, and what is wrong will remain wrong. We flipped up around on that, right? What we used to be considered right is now wrong, and what used to be considered wrong is now right. That's where we are right now with this government. Barry, October 7th was such a horrible act. It was heard around the world. And how in the world all of a sudden they become victims? And I hate to say this, but it's true. It reminds me of a lot of the black community. They commit all these crimes. They go out into the subways in New York, commit these crimes. Something happens to them, and then they become the victim. It's the exact same thing. I mean, my goodness. Oh my goodness, we're the victims. We did the crime, but now we're the victims. We did the horrible act, but now we're the victims because you can't do this to us. What's wrong with our society?
Let's talk about how wrong it is. New York subway. Last week, an illegal immigrant already caught, already deported. He came back. He finds a woman asleep on the subway and sets her on fire and burns her to death, and nobody intervenes.
No one.
And this is, wait a minute, this is after
the
brilliant Kathy Hochul, the governor of New York, made a speech about how safe the New York subways are because of her. Hello?
Yeah.
And then this happens. And the guy that did it, he didn't even protest. This is him, right?
He recorded it.
I mean, is that unbelievable? Did he do it on his cell phone or something? Is that what happened?
They were showing that he was on the video, and people are questioning how did they get the video? Who released the video? Did he upload it? Who did he send it to? Where did he put it? Because it went viral. And the thing, and like you just mentioned, the Governor Hochul was saying, "Oh, the subway is 100% safe." You know what it reminds me of? Reminds me of Mayorkas. Remember Mayorkas?
Oh, the
The
border,
border
the border
secure.
secure. The border
Yes.
secure.
Yeah, exact
Yeah,
same
he
thing.
lies in front of Congress and they're screaming at him, calling him a liar, and he just keeps a straight face.
Yeah, and then December 23rd, the day before Christmas, somebody who was arrested multiple times ended up going around and cutting people. Actually cut the throat of one lady. She survived. This is just what, 3 days ago.
Uh-huh.
But we're supposed to believe that they have everything under control. They're making everything safe for everybody, but yet we keep having this happen.
Well, this guy's name is Sebastian Zepeda. He's been charged with first-degree murder, second-degree murder, first-degree arson. He was actually arrested in Arizona, June 1, 2018. He was deported by the Trump administration. But good news, he came back. And the current administration let him in.
Is Mayorkas going to let him out?
Unbelievable.
Is Alvin Bragg going to release him?
Unbelievable. I mean, this is so horrible. This is so horrible. And the outcry ought to be deafening. I've been on the subway. It's kind of creepy. It's not like Japan where, you could eat off the floor. It's so clean. It's a little bit sketch down there, really. And that's putting it mildly.
Yeah.
And the idea that you could be burned to death and have that murder broadcast all over the world on the same week that the insane governor says everything's safe, come on down. You know what I mean? Wow. 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 And wow.
Yeah. You know what, Barry? Just like the cops, the police officers were walking around and it looked like no one was intervening. I mean, the fire was going. I'm like, do they not have a fire extinguisher anywhere on the subway? I've been on the subway before. I've seen fire extinguishers on the subway and no one intervened. And then the same thing with the incident that took place December 23rd, the day before Christmas. The lady that was cut in the throat, you know what she said? She was on the phone with her neighbor. This is the report that I heard. She was on the phone with her neighbor, and her neighbor heard the commotion, and the neighbor was the one that ended up calling 911. Everybody else around just got out their phone and started recording, and everybody else around just observing what's going on. What is wrong with our society? This is horrible. And
Well,
then
it might be
that Daniel Penny.
I was going to say, I think it might be a Daniel Penny reaction where that guy, who to this day is a hero, I don't care what Alvin Bragg says, the Marine that went in and saved the people's lives on that subway when the crazy guy who was high on whatever drug it was said, "I'm killing somebody today. Who's it going to be? I know I'm going to jail for the rest of my life. I'm going to kill one of you." So he stopped it with 3 other people. And Alvin Bragg, instead of giving him the biggest award New York could have given him and making a statue, tried him for murder.
Yeah.
Thank God the jury unanimously let him go.
Yeah.
On all charges.
Yeah, probably because they've been on the subway themselves. Imagine that. And you're right. Alvin Bragg should have been giving him the biggest award that the city can give, like a key to the city. The mayor should have been giving him a key to the city for standing up and protecting the other people on the subway. But you know who they're happy to give a key to the city to? You
Tell
know
me.
who? P. Diddy. I'm not kidding. They
He's
gave
still
him
in.
a key. They
Did they
gave him
take
a
it back
key.
when they put him in prison?
Oh no, they no here. Just keep the key. You know, you probably can use it here soon. They gave him a key to the city.
When you get out.
Yeah. It's wild.
Unbelievable. There is some good news coming out of at least Idaho, which, if you remember, went way red a few weeks ago. The Idaho Board of Regents has approved efforts to completely ban DEI in the entire state. They said, we've had it. No more DEI, which means no more diversity, equity, and inclusion. Bye-bye. Right? So kudos to the University of Idaho, which is their main university, but they had to debate it for months. Finally, the board at the University of Idaho voted, get this, unanimously on a resolution that in Idaho, institutions cannot, quote, require specific structures or any activities relating to DEI. And they went on. Institutions shall establish and maintain equality of opportunity for all students, regardless of personal identity characteristics, to ensure no central offices, policies, procedures, or initiatives are dedicated to DEI ideology, and to ensure that no employee or student is required to declare gender identity or preferred pronouns. May we take a break and applaud the state of Idaho. In other words, you should be advanced based on, get this, I know it sounds insane, performance. How good you do.
Yeah.
How good you are.
Yeah.
Not your color, not your sex, not who you're sleeping with, right? But how good you are. And it's the state law now in Idaho. It's based on merit only. Wow.
I'm surprised if
All hiring practices, get this, and any decision regarding employment or education based on personal identity or characteristics, out of here. You can be black, blue, brown, they don't care. It's how do you perform? This is wonderful. I can't wait to see it in all 50 states.
Yeah, I'm wondering, have there been any lawsuits from the ACLU or any other organization?
This just happened, so they're probably you're probably right. They're probably filing them right now. I didn't
Yeah,
think
I
of
mean,
that.
so how dare you want to judge people based on their education? How dare you want to put people in a job based on their job performance? How dare you want to put an airplane pilot in the cockpit because of his training? How dare you? How dare
Exactly.
you want this doctor to operate on you that's gone to 16 years of school, paid all the dues? How dare you? You need a man that's gonna put on a dress and spend a couple hours a night just looking at some medical videos.
Yeah. How to operate. Check out my video on YouTube and then smash the like button
Yeah,
because we've got 800 views already.
yeah. So you know what, and I've trained with this for a long time. You ever play that game? You get the tweezers, and you go. I can do it without getting a single.
Are you talking about Operation, that
Yes,
game when you were
yes,
10 years old?
yes.
Yeah.
That's what they train with.
Yeah, wonderful. Well, in Idaho, it ain't like that anymore, brother. It's actually based on competency and it's spreading. I want, by the time, let's say 2025 is over, I want to be able to say to you, there's not a state in America, and I'm including Oregon and Washington and California and New York and all the other woke swamp locations. It's all going to be based on meritocracy, not your color, your national origin, or your dumbass pronouns. That's just me. That's just me.
I'm with you.
There's a doctor at one of the most famous schools in the world, King's College in London, who has now gone public with his opinions with a lot of support in England, saying that Iran and Hezbollah, who have slaughtered hundreds of thousands, and have done their best to destroy Israel, while they're supporting the Houthis and Hamas and Islamic Jihad and Al Qaeda and ISIS, and sending 10,000 rockets and missiles into Israel, trying to kill as many civilians as possible. This doctor says that Iran and Hezbollah have been fairly rational throughout the conflict. This is him. This is Andreas Krieg. And he says attacks by Iran and Hezbollah during the 12-month-long conflict are okay by him. Now, keep in mind, Iran launches missiles into Israel many times a week. The Houthis do it almost every night, right? And he says that the international community should agree with him that Iran and its proxy Hezbollah are in the right. Now, even the BBC said the guy is hateful, but they left him on the air. The Sun columnist there wrote, quote, "This is uneffing believable. Enough is enough. The BBC is now an openly pro-terror organization by supporting this maniac." And you know what? She's right. He's still on the air today, Will. Right now, broadcasting on BBC to millions of people in Great Britain.
Well, it doesn't surprise me about the BBC. The BBC is, their version of CNN and MSDNC. They've gone completely woke, completely left, completely against reality. It doesn't surprise me. It does not surprise me at all. BBC, NPR, same thing. They've all gone woke. And this wokeism has destroyed companies. So it's going to be a matter of time. It's going to be a matter of time. The BBC, look what's happening right now with a lot of these countries where they're getting away from it. We might just see Canada get away from it here shortly. Come next year. Their woke leaders look like he's on his way out the door. So there's some positive changes, but I think it has to be really, really dramatic until it happens, right? So for example, because this guy, he's still there until the people that listen to PBS, until they're truly just affected to the point to where they're like, okay, we've had enough. But maybe they are. Maybe they just have deep pockets. Maybe they have someone like Soros pouring money into them. Say, we don't care how bad it gets for them. Just keep him on the air. That could be the only reason why. There's a reason why he's still there. Someone's funding it. Someone's funding it.
Nobody, and I mean this, and you're right. I'm agreeing with you. Nobody stays on the air with that kind of BS coming out of their mouth without support from the higher ups.
Exactly. Someone's funding it.
Right. I've got a very, very interesting video to show you. I've watched it several times. It's from the incoming head of DOGE, Department of Government Efficiency, Elon Musk. And he made a very bold prediction right before the election. And I've watched this now several times. I want to get your response. Let's watch it together. It's profoundly brilliant. What do you expect? It's Elon Musk. Let me give it to you now.
If we don't elect Trump, I think we will lose we will lose democracy in this country. What the Democrat administration has been doing is importing vast numbers of illegals into swing states. I mean, you don't take my word for it. You'll just look at the numbers as reported by the government, which is controlled by the Democrats. And what we're seeing is triple-digit increases in the number of illegals in every swing state. In some cases, 700% increases. But it's not a swing state anymore. It's going to vote blue. And then once the swing states vote blue, there is no election anymore. There's only a Democrat primary. And then they will keep doing that, obviously. They will keep stacking the deck by bringing in vast numbers of illegals into the swing states, keep stacking it so that the next election, each successive election, will be worse than the last one. Look at California. California is supermajority Dem, 70% Dem. A month ago, they passed a law making it illegal to show ID in any election in California.
What logical reason other than to cheat would you ever have that law?
The reason is to cheat. Basically, almost every country on earth requires ID to vote. This election is the last chance to preserve democracy in America. Mark my words. Everything they accuse Trump of, they are guilty of. And if Trump doesn't win, this...
He was prophetic. The man's a prophet, literally. and he's right. And he was telling that to Joe Rogan, who's doing this on the other side of the video, right? Now, you got to remember, Joe Rogan was a liberal Democrat / libertarian.
He's a Bernie bro.
What's that?
He was a Bernie bro.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And then he endorsed Trump when he figured it out. And Musk was a Democrat until he figured it out. So was Kennedy. So was Tulsi. All these people.
So was Trump.
What's that?
So was Trump.
Yeah, you go back far enough, 10 years ago, that's why he was on The View every week.
Yeah. So was I.
Yep. And then all of a sudden he had that come to Moses moment where the skies opened up and the bolt of lightning came down from heaven and people went, oh, crap. I got to switch teams. This is really bad. What do you think about what Musk just said? Let's be specific.
I think he was 100% spot on. And I was, saying similar things in 2020 that if we don't get President Trump, if he doesn't come back in, we're truly done as a country. We're truly done because they're going to push in so much that we will never recover. They were hoping to be able to do that with Kamala Harris. They were hoping to be able to do that with Joe Biden, but Joe Biden, it didn't happen with him. They thought that even with Obama going out, they thought Hillary Clinton was coming in and she was gonna be able to continue what Obama was doing. President Trump put a monkey wrench in all of it and stopped them from doing what they're doing. And Elon Musk, again, sitting there with Joe Rogan, made it completely clear that we would lose the democracy. Now, we're a constitutional republic, but we will lose the democracy that we utilize, meaning that at the state levels, we vote pretty much majority rules at the state level. Then there's electoral college votes go to the federal level, which makes us a constitutional republic. But we would have lost that too. We would have lost everything. They would have implemented everything that Stalin wanted to do, everything that Mao Zedong wanted to do, everything that Hitler wanted to do, everything that all of these dictators that have been screaming about doing in the past, they would have implemented it. And everything, all of our freedoms would have gone away. Kamala Harris said in the first 100 days that she would make sure that no American citizen would be able to own a firearm because she would do an executive order to violate the Constitution. The Constitution for them is just an out-of-date document, or they refer to it as a document that needs to be rewritten in their image even. So he's 100% spot on. And the fact that you have two huge people, Joe Rogan, his name, Elon Musk, him, the most wealthiest man in the world, both coming together, acknowledging what is happening in our society and throwing their support behind President Trump, the very one that all of them kept saying, oh, he's going to destroy our country. He's going to destroy our country. He's the fascist. He's the racist. He's this and he's that. They threw their support behind him. And now the left is extremely mad about it. There's a video where they're talking about Elon Musk, saying Elon Musk needs to be very careful. Elon Musk needs to stay out of government business. Elon Musk could get hurt.
So they're threatening him. They're threatening him.
Yes, they are threatening him now. They're saying that he is creating enemies. And think about this, Barry. They're saying Elon Musk is creating enemies because of what he did, especially after this with this bill. And how many Republicans did you ever hear go on any talk shows or anything and said that Elon Musk is creating enemies when he was a liberal? Joe Rogan, how many enemies did they say he was creating? None. They never said that. But they are saying that he's creating enemies because he left the cult. That's exactly what they are.
Well, here's one of the reasons why people like Elon Musk and Joe Rogan and Bobby Kennedy and Tulsi Gabbard are switching teams. This is a profound statement that I really want to get into a discussion about a little bit. This is what Trump said the other day. This is profound. He said, we can all read along together. This was his, I guess you call it a truth on Truth Social, right? This is where he comes out and says exactly how he feels about the hostages. He said, quote, everybody's talking about the hostages who are being held so violently, inhumanely, and against the will of the entire world in the Middle East. But it's all talk and no action. Starting right there, only one government is acting, and that's Israel, without the support and in spite of the opposition of Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. Because they keep telling Israel to stand down. Just want to point that out. Trump continues, please let this truth serve to represent that if the hostages are not released prior to January 20th, 2025, the date that I proudly assume office as President of the United States, there will be all hell to pay in the Middle East. And for those in charge who perpetrated these atrocities against humanity, those responsible will be hit harder than anybody has been hit in the long and storied history of the United States of America. Release the hostages now. What do you think is coming in 3.5 weeks if they don't listen to President-elect Trump?
People talking about all these drones flying over New Jersey. They're really going to talk about the drones flying over that location. U.S. drones. And there's not going to be no question that the Pentagon's going to be able to tell you where these drones are coming from. There's going to be no question. You know what? I believe that they're going to release them. They're going to release the ones that are still alive, which is just horrible, right? At this point, just horrible. I bet you some of them wish they weren't even alive, if they are alive. And the ones that they're no longer alive, they're probably gonna produce some kind of evidence to show that they're not with us any longer. They're gonna make some kind of dramatic change because they know that President Trump, he can be a madman, and that's what we need. We need someone to act like a madman, to act like a alpha male, to act like a boss. We need someone that's not going to back down. We need someone to show up with muscle, show up with confidence, and say, nope, this is what we're going to do. You doing this is no longer acceptable. You had your time, and you've been able to get away with it because Joe Biden made sure it happened. Kamala Harris made sure that it happened. Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, oh my goodness, all of them made sure that what happened in Israel happened and what is continually to happen. and he's going to bring an end to it. I'm so excited to see it. January 20th can't get here soon enough.
Oh man, from your mouth to God's ears, I wish we were there now, because there are so many people salivating and knocking each other out of the way. Oh no, he's going to do this. Oh no, he's doing this. There's so much coming down in the first couple of days. It's going to be executive orders like you've never seen. And the world is going to change like snap.
Yep. I think,
and in terms of those poor hostages, nobody in Congress even mentions those are Americans in those holes and cages.
Yes. Yes.
Since when does America not care that American innocent lives are being abused and tortured by one of the worst terror organizations in recent world history, and America does nothing? Zero.
Yeah, do nothing.
Except condemns the one army on earth trying to rescue them.
And side with the United Nations, side with these organizations within the UN that is against Israel, side with Iran, even sending them funds, releasing the restrictions on them. They did this. They wanted this to happen. And remember, you and I had the discussion about Joe Biden getting on the airplane. He flew over there saying, I'm the first wartime president to ever go fly in a war zone, blah, 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 blah. You know what that is? That's just someone, you ever hear these criminals go back to the scene of the crime?
Scene of the crime, right.
That's exactly what he did. That's the only reason why he was there. Let me go see the damage that I created.
Yeah. Yeah. I totally agree. And it's not just that. It's the press supporting the enemy. Check this out. This is the New York Post reporting on CBS News. A Gaza-based reporter for CBS News has repeatedly posted disgusting vitriol on social media. Things like, are the Jews human like we are? This person still has a job at CBS News reporting on Gaza. And by the way, there are hundreds of examples like this where they have reporters who are propaganda machines, much like the Nazis used during the Second World War, making up stories, literally.
Yeah, I was going to say, much like the Democrats did in 2024. In 2023, in 22, in 2020, in 2020, and so on and so on. That same propaganda machine is everywhere. And how horrible is that? I mean, really, how horrible is that? Are they human like us? I mean, who says that? Who says that? Do they not bleed? Do they not walk? Do they not use the restroom? I mean, are we talking about gods here? What are we talking about here?
What you're seeing is not only the insanity of what this person says, Will, but the fact that one of the largest news organizations in the world, stands proudly behind the insanity coming out of this person's mouth. Truly. And it's CBS News. It's not a minor thing, is it?
No. Something's wrong with our society.
Well,
and there should be a bigger outcry about it.
Of course, but it's not even in the news. Today, I'm going to leave you with a video that for the life of me, I can't wait for this to end. This is New York City. This is last week. Watch and listen closely.
We need to unite.
We need to unite.
Rise above sectarianism.
Rise above sectarianism.
Rise above religious differences.
Rise above religious differences.
Stop pointing fingers at each other.
Stop pointing fingers at each other.
Our fingers.
Our fingers.
Our pens.
Our pens.
Our rifles.
Our rifles.
Will be pointed at.
Will be pointed at.
The U.S. government.
The U.S. government.
The Zionist entity.
Our pens, our fingers, and our rifles will be pointed at the United States government and nobody else. That is treason.
That's not freedom
That
of speech.
that's no longer freedom of speech.
Yeah.
Do you think the Justice Department, the FBI under Elon Musk, and the actual attorneys under the former Attorney General from Florida, when she takes over, are things going to be different when they're running things? Because I sure hope so.
I think it will be, because even President Trump mentioned that we probably should look into making it a law, against the law, if you burn, for per se, the American flag. I mean, enough is enough. They're not burning the American flag for free speech. They're burning it because they hate this country. Those people are not out on the streets saying that they want to bring peace, or that they're protesting for a cause, regardless what the cause is. They're actually calling for violence against the United States of America.
Actually, the destruction of the United States of America,
Yes.
if you want to be specific.
So let's say you and I, Barry, we're going to go over to Saudi Arabia and we're going to do the same thing.
Oh, pal,
Let's
wait a minute. You'd still be signed on, shooting off your mouth when the door would be broken down,
yeah.
right?
Let's go to China and do it. Right? Let's go to another country and do the same thing. Well, I guess you can if you go to, Europe, because wasn't it Angela Merkel? She'll be okay with it.
She's
But
no longer
you know what?
she's no longer the prime minister, thank goodness.
Yeah, exactly. But the thing is, you can't go to another country and do this stupidity. You're talking. Yeah, you're absolutely right. They're calling for the destruction of the United States of America. That is not peaceful protesting. And of course, you get people like Karine Jean-Pierre and the government state media, all of them. They're saying, well, if they're peacefully protesting, it's okay, because we encourage people to peacefully protest while everything's on fire behind them. They're peacefully protesting. It's mostly peaceful. That's where we live.
Except for the fire that burns down a whole block, or the stores that are destroyed, or the police cars that are torched. And we have 1,000 examples, don't we, across
Oh my
America,
goodness.
from, well, you know what I'm talking about, right?
Oh yeah.
It is horrific. This was New York last week when Pam Bondi is AG and Kash Patel is FBI. Things are gonna be a little different, Will Johnson, don't you think?
I think so. I think
Me
so.
too. Can't wait. 3.5 weeks. We'll be here. Woo-hoo. Can't wait to report as soon as it starts. I want to again wish everybody a happy Hanukkah, a wonderful Merry Christmas. We're coming up on New Year's in a couple of days. We're going to have lots and lots and lots to talk about. I hope your families are healthy. I hope you're happy and healthy. And it's going to be the best New Year ever, because we've got the new regime coming in. Lots and lots of changes are coming. And remember, FindBarry.com takes you to American Truth Project, where you can sign up to be on our mailing list absolutely free. And United America First is where Will Johnson is, and his stuff is always free too. Sign up with him, sign up with us. You're welcome to come aboard and keep up with all the news that we interpret for you. But as Will pointed out during the show today, there are times where you can't get that kind of news somewhere else. It's people like us that dig into it 24/7, so you know what's really happening.
Yep.
Well,
so
go ahead.
I was going to say, this is December 26th. So the next time I talk to you will be next year, right?
Yes, sir. It will be. It will be. It'll be the year of the Trump presidency, number 47.
Yes.
Can't wait.
Oh my goodness, it's gonna be amazing.
Bye, y'all. We will see you all next week.